Alright, here's my homemade 18-inch drum sander with, this is part 3, and I'm going to do like a finishes video, what I've done since I did my last videos. I have re-trued up the drum, so the drum's now true. It was before, but I now polyurethaned it, and I have 3 coats of just Hellsman's polyurethane, and it seems to be working pretty good. I've sanded a couple boards with it since I polyurethaned it. And I still have the hose clamps. They're kind of tricky to get on. It's hard just to get the sandpaper all lined up and then still tighten the hose clamps. I'd still like to be able to have some sort of clip, like the gap here. Have some sort of clip where I can just slip it in, tighten it up, and then just start wrapping. And then the same thing on the other side. And it would be much easier that way. And I've added a latch here, so now that my door here won't go swinging open on me whenever I'm sanding, because before the door would be like half open, exposing the belt, and I needed some sort of latch to be able to hold it there. And then also on the bottom, I've added a toggle clamp, so it'll hold the motor down, and whenever you see that red handle, it is untensioned, and whenever you don't see it, it's tensioned. And then also on the back, I've put the back panel on now, and it's got hinges, so all I have to do is just, it's a little bit tight, a little bit hard to get open, but you can see the inside, my motor for the drum. And the circuit board powers my DC motor for the conveyor, and the circuit board, it tells the motor how to run, like how to speed up, when to speed up, by how much, and when to slow down. And it's been working great. And actually this thing was supposed to be junked, but I was able to get to the guy that gave it to me. I was able to get to him before he was going to junk it. And these treadmill motors, I would definitely go with, I would not go with a treadmill motor. I would go with like a DC gear motor. You can pick them up on eBay. And treadmill motors, they just don't have the torque and the lower speed settings. DC gear motors do. Look it up on eBay. There's tons of them. And but that's why I have such a large gearing ratio here. I think this is like a 70 tooth, and this is 14. So big gear reduction there. And a while back, we were doing a lot of sanding on here, and the drum sander I was having a lot of issues with tracking, and the belt, if you just looked at it wrong, you just see the belt just slide over to one or the other sides. And I was noticed on the roller, I made these rollers purposely smaller. These are, I think I made them 17 inches instead of the full 18. And I noticed you could see the roller into the housing here on both sides, and I know I didn't make it that way. And I noticed there were gaps in the roller, like the roller split apart. I used plywood as the rollers, and it was the factory glue joint on the plywood split apart. So now you have 2 rollers, which should be 1. And that was causing tracking issues with the belt, because now you have a big gap right in the center. And I was able to slide the rollers out through here, so I didn't have to take the whole assembly apart, and for the table, and I could just slide the rollers out. I took the bearings off and was able to take the rollers apart, and I put Gorilla Glue on the shaft. This is a 5/8 shaft. I put Gorilla Glue on the shaft and then slid each piece back on in the correct order, And then on the outside of the plywood, I put Type-On 1 wood glue. And with those two modifications now, I don't seem to have any tracking problems. The belt is right where I left it whenever I tracked it the first time since I redid the rollers. And my back roller was split apart in like 5 places. I could just take each piece and just slit and snap them. And it now works much better with the wood glue on the outside and then the Gorilla Glue on the shaft to the roller. And but other than those couple touches I've had to do, it's been working great. And let's tension the belt. I'll turn it on for you. Everything still works great. And let me close the dust hood here. I have variable speed on the conveyor, so I can go real fast, or I can go real slow and just creep that board in there if I'm really hogging off a lot. And make sure you, if you do have a tension on your belt, make sure you untension it so you don't have excess wear on your belt. And I do notice this is just a 1 horsepower. I'd really like to change that and maybe get a 2 or a 3 horsepower motor. And because I notice when I'm doing the full width of a board, I notice it's real easy to stall it. And I don't notice popping the breaker, I just notice stalling the motor. And before I had the toggle clamp, I noticed right before it would stall, the motor would actually start to pick up on the belt. And now with the toggle clamp that doesn't happen. But now all that resistance is now on your motor. And this motor actually came off of an old lathe. And kind of see in here. And it's worked out great. It's a 1 horsepower. And I'd just really like to get a 2 or a 3 horsepower running on 220 volt. But I don't have 220 volt in my shop yet. So it's I have to deal with what you have, I guess, right? And so this is my part 3 of my series of videos of my drum sander, and I hope you guys like it.